It says live.
It says live?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Still kind of waiting for it to catch up. It says live?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's
Like
the dog.
And right on cue, my dog is letting us know what's up. Welcome, everybody. It's Dustin Coiner from TrackDaz, and I'm again on with the Superbike genius in a mask this time, Richard Stanboli. What's up, Richard?
Yes. Hey, I'm getting acclimated for Atlanta. It's going to be hot and humid
What's the deal
there.
with your Rona mask tonight, dude?
It's a Yamaha mask, see?
Oh, well, you know, got to show sponsors love, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep it safe over here. It's getting nasty. Plus,
Yeah.
you know, Atlanta's going to be probably a boiler with 80% humidity, so I got to get used to my glasses fogging up.
There you go. There you go. Nice. Well, yeah, I mean, it's the humidity factor there is something fierce, yeah?
It can be, for sure. During the summer, oh yeah. It can be crazy. We'll check the temperature when we get there.
So tonight we're going to talk about the test that you guys did at the Ridge last week. And, you know, based on the shirt I'm rocking, you know, I got to be factory dude for a couple of days with you guys, which was pretty amazing.
Don't exaggerate. We had you outside the tent. You weren't allowed inside.
Okay.
You did eat at our table though.
I did eat at your table. I did share the lounge with the boys too.
Oh yeah, that's right. They let you in. What would they think?
Yeah, super hospitable. You know, Cam and Jake both were they were very hospitable. They were very welcoming and, you know, cracking wise and whatever. But they got down to business, and I tried my best to stay out of their way.
Yeah, it's easy to be nice when you're fast. Can you imagine if those guys were sucking? How nice it would be to you.
What's that loser on the street bike doing out there?
That's about it.
Yeah, so how'd that go? I mean, I watched them ride, and, you know, just learning the new track, basically, it looked like that's what your guys' plan was, right?
Yeah, that was about it. We didn't really plan on anything spectacular, but, you know, Cameron went really well, and so did Jake. Jake was actually fastest first day. Yeah. But I just remember going around for the very first time. Were you with me in the rental car? No, you came.
I wasn't the first time. The second time, I was the one driving.
Yeah, so the first, usually I'll learn a track really fast. Go, okay, this goes here, this goes there. I did my research on Google Earth and, you know, try to learn the track through videos and stuff like that. But there's nothing like being on the racetrack. That place is crazy. You know what kind of reminded me of? You ever watch Seinfeld?
Yeah.
You know Elaine, how she dances?
No.
Yeah, she has that out of rhythm, weird dance that stops the party. Everyone looks at her. That's the way that track is.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, when I got there Monday evening to pick you guys up, and you're like, "Yeah, let's go out another lap in the car." I was like, "Sure." So you and Walker jumped in the car with myself and Will, and you know, we did a lap, and it seemed like every 10 seconds you were like, no, slow down more. No, slow down more. And you know, we got to the top of that. Best way I could describe it is Lombard Street, right? We got to the top of Lombard Street, and the track supervisor guy or whatever came out and kind of tossed us. But like, hey, I guess we're not supposed to do laps in the car at 8 o'clock at night or whatever.
Yeah, you know, probably we could have, but you know, better be nice with them than not, you know.
We asked for forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly. Just get on the track, and afterwards just ask for forgiveness. It always works.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, my thoughts of the place were just like, oh my God, we're gonna ride on this. You know, I mean, it was pretty sketchy seeming in the car, and you know, as soon as I said that, you looked at me and you're like, don't you say anything to the riders. Let them figure it out.
Yeah, you don't want to start a test coming in going, wow, that place is crazy. You guys are gonna have a hard time learning that. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about professionals, right? They'll learn it. I mean, they know what they're looking at, and for sure, Cameron took his time the first go around. You could see it. For sure. Probably half the day he spent kind of learning the directions, and then at the end he kind of hammered out a lap, but didn't really get it till the next day. So it's gonna be a handful. I couldn't imagine going there on that Thursday MotoAmerica day and it being wet.
Oh, I mean,
not knowing the track and not getting any of your setup info, you know. But luckily for us, I mean, our baseline is really good. So we didn't veer very far off the baseline at all. A little gearing change, a little TC change here and there, and that was about it.
Yeah, I mean, Cameron and I both thankful to Ken Hill for this, but Ken took us out in the rental car in the morning, and he pointed out a bunch of things, and the water tower thing and all of that. So that kind of armed me anyway with a basic course direction rather than going out there and trying to figure it out myself 100%. But even still, the rental car pointing out stuff doesn't match what happens when you're on the motorcycle, right?
Not even close.
Yeah.
That's why it's way better for those guys just to go out and learn it on their own. Yeah. Jake had been there before a track day or something, but Cameron had never seen it before, which like I said, those guys are professionals and they just go out and they'll learn it.
100%. I think the only thing that was new for Jake was probably that chicane, right?
Yeah, the chicane down front straight. Yeah, I couldn't imagine that place without a chicane. I mean, probably cool, fun in the car, but man, if you ran off in turn one, you'd be in the trees, kind of like
the tree line was
close. That straightaway is the full length of the racetrack.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah. What's that?
I said it's kind of awesome, actually.
Yeah, it's a cool straightaway for sure. I mean, come out of that little Chuck Wallace style last turn.
Yeah.
That's the only place I think that they really need to work on the safety is that last turn. I don't know what they're going to do about that wall that's right there at pit exit. Like between pit exit and pit entrance.
Yeah, I mean,
between pit exit and the racetrack, there's a divider wall.
Right at it. I mean, you kind of hold that left radius a little bit longer.
Yeah.
You're not pointed at the wall.
But you know what's going to happen? I mean, you got these R3 kids, right? They're going to be side by side going through there, and somebody's going to want to get that turn in, on the inside to get that, make a pass.
Yeah, I mean, I don't envy the management at MotoAmerica figuring out where all that air fence is going to go and all that,
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, Indy was kind of like that too, and then they kept the track tight in that last corner before the straightaway, and you get penalized if you jump the barrier there. So I don't really know what they're going to do, but it'll be interesting. But our guys didn't seem to complain at all about the safety or anything like that. I mean, they didn't have
honestly, when you're out riding on it, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that as bad as it looked when we were in the rental car,
I can see places in Finion that were even nastier. We raced there for decades.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, like Firebird Raceway, when you would come on to the drag strip and they were held AMA National there. Yeah. And you would slide all the way up against the little wall.
Oh,
where the drag cars would be. And that was crazy. But tracks are way safer now, especially with all the protective equipment people have.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that turn wasn't the turn that was bugging me. I mean, I came in after the first couple laps and I told you, I think my eyeballs were sticking out, touching the inside of my visor.
Yeah, there was no particular turn that was bugging you. It was all the turns were bugging you.
Hey, you shut up.
No, you look good on the straightaway though.
Oh yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, you know me, straightaway tough guy.
Yeah, a straightaway wheelie guy.
Oh, well, that. Yeah. No, it's that what is it? Turn 3, I guess. You come up over that little rise, and then there's left at the bottom that starts the beginning of that S section. And every time the first couple laps I'd go through, they're like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna end up mowing the lawn out here." So I had to come in and kind of check the shorts a little bit, and I like, what's going on, man? Just take it easy.
Yeah, you look a little wider than normal.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I completely lost my tan a couple of times on that.
Oh yeah.
But kind of build a rhythm there, and then that's the beginning of that fast section. So.
You did like 300 miles there, right?
Yeah, we did over 300 miles there. Yep.
Our guys were right around 300K.
Yeah.
So you rode about double what they rode.
Well, they got to come in and make changes and talk to you guys and do your computer genius wizardry, and all I did was burn laps.
Actually, I don't change anything on the keyboard. I just pretend.
Oh,
I tell him I did.
Look, yeah. Right. Yeah. Telepathically, you changed it, right?
Oh yeah, it's all about the mind.
Yeah. So, I don't know about you, but I mean, I saw elements on that track that were kind of similar to maybe Thunderhill and that Reno Fernley track that we used to ride on up north.
Yeah,
And then, like I said, Lombard Street in San Francisco.
Yeah, that was a pretty good description of that last set of turns. That's if they put a few planners out there, I think it'd be just like Lombard Street.
I know, right?
What it reminded me of too was the Macau GP. They have the hairpin.
Okay.
And it's a first gear. You can hardly lean over, even though it's got a fairly wide entry. I mean, you're parked and you do a 180.
Yeah.
It's similar to that. I mean, we were getting, I think, first gear 4,000, 4,500 RPMs, like idle.
Right.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
you kind of get to the top, stop, look both ways, and then go down Lombard Street.
Yeah, just drop down in there. Nice little fall.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it looked like between the two guys, I mean, it looked like Jake kind of went up the speed real quick. Like I said, the chicane was probably new to him, but he already kind of had the track figured out, kind of. But,
yeah.
Man, watching him, he's just so exciting to watch. I mean, the guy is just, making the bike do stuff and throwing it sideways, and it's awesome. Super exciting as a fan of the sport to watch. Like, that guy is a maniac, and it's awesome.
Yeah, he's very animated in the.
Yeah,
he's like the cartoon. Yeah, he's like the polar opposite of Cameron. It's really fun to watch. And his setup is I mean, as far as steering goes, is almost quite the opposite as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a low trail guy and Cameron's a high trail guy. So when people say, "Hey, what's the best setup for my bike?" It's like, well, the best setup is what you like.
Right.
Whatever makes you comfortable.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed about Cam is just how methodical he is about learning the track, and then as he gets going, he doesn't just go out and go 10/10ths from the jump. Like, he just kind of goes out and rolls maybe the first half of the track, and then next thing you know, he's peace out, see ya, and smokes everybody.
Yeah, once he got going, I mean, the second day he was clicking off those 41s in a row, like 41, 41, 41. And first started with 42, 42, 42, so once he learns the section, I think it kind of stays. Hayes was the same way. I call him step function guy. If anyone knows anything about math, you got these things called step functions where it goes up in steps. And Hayes would do that. He'd go a certain speed, and then that was it. He wouldn't go backwards.
Yeah.
And then, some riders, you get to a point like a peak, and they'll roll over. And then that right by then you park the bike. You go, we're not going any faster today, so you might as well park it and let the guy sleep on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, Cameron basically, we talked at lunchtime, and he's got an interesting outlook on his whole being a racer thing, and he told me he's super fortunate, that he races motorcycles for a living, which I
think all those guys are. I mean, do that for a living.
Man, you ride motorcycles for a living. How awesome of a job! Best job in the world, right? So but he talked about that, and he talked about how he was learning the track and how he just kind of pieced together a few spots that kind of reminded him of other places he'd already been, and then it just snowballed into knowing the track. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you ought to see a GPS trace, and you can see it from session to session how he changes his lines, and eventually the whole thing flows. It just looks like one big flowing racetrack. You wouldn't even think there's any like decreasing radius turns. He's not fooled by the scenery, the curbing and the asphalt, and it goes this way and that way. He makes a decent track out of something that's really odd.
He rounded off the corners for sure. At least that's what it looked like to me from my seat, Just
he didn't start off that way.
Smoke past me.
Yeah, he didn't start off that way. At first it was kind of his GPS trace looked kind of like the way the track was shaped. And then later on, he made his own racetrack out of it. And I'm sure that's just the way all the racers are going to be eventually. Just some people are going to get it faster than others.
Right. So, your guys, for the most part, your guys were pretty busy. I mean, I saw you know, I wanted to talk to a little bit about the crew, because I got to interact with all of them too. And, you know, the first thing I noticed was Corn Dog, you know, your suspension dude. Like that guy, I watched him have forks apart and all that. I'm just like, dude, really? Like the forks were apart. So
I mean,
tell me a little bit about what he was doing there.
You know, we tried some different length adjustments on the forks, just because we were running the bike fairly tall, you know, compared to what Cameron was used to last year. And so the forks they had from last year were not quite the same height. So they made some length adjustments, some valving changes for Jake, which really helped him out. You know, all of a sudden he went faster by quite a bit, and gave him some confidence he was looking for. And Cameron, like I said, we kind of stuck with the same with him. Just let him learn the racetrack. And yeah, I mean, Corn Dog, he's an awesome guy. He knows the Öhlins product inside and out. I mean, he's so busy. That guy he's not coming to one of our tests. He's going to the nationals and helping like 5 or 6 different teams out. He's mainly attached to Westby Racing.
Oh, is he?
He does do our suspension as well when he has time. He'll come around and do something real quick for us if we need it. Otherwise, we do it ourselves. And then he's doing flat track with Estenson Racing. And I mean, the guy's all over the place. I'm surprised he doesn't do motocross. If you turn on a GP, you might see him there, or World Superbike. You'll see his face there somewhere. It's pretty nutty. I mean, the guy's busy.
He's got this like look on his face, kind of squints one eye a little bit, you know, and I'm just kind of scared of him a little bit. But then next thing I know, the guy's like putting gas in my bike. So I'm like, well, maybe it's not that scary.
Oh yeah, you got, you know, ex-World Superbike Öhlins guy putting gas in your motorcycle. That's pretty cool. You were a factory guy for a day.
I know, right? 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, the rest of the guys, I mean, you know, you have quite a few guys there because you got a couple of riders, right? So,
yeah.
You know, I mean, the guys that I know anyway, you know, I kind of want to steer towards them, but you know, Walker dead silent in our rental car on the way to the track both days. But as soon as you got out of the car, the guy was like 100 miles an hour from go to the end of the day, like, and then dead silent in the car on the way back.
Yeah, my favorite saying is slow down, Walker. You know, a lot of guys you don't have to tell them to speed. You have to tell them to speed up. With him, you got to tell them slow down, man, slow down. But yeah, Walker, he's pretty unique. You know, like he drives a semi also. So you give him a couple, you know, like 5 pounds of M&Ms, and he'll drive across country without a stop.
I was gonna say, what are you feeding the guy? So now I guess that's now I know, just M&Ms. Nice.
They work for peanuts.
And then, you know, I mean, the other guy that I already know, I've known him for a while, is William. And Chewbacca, yeah. Like I was saying that he kind of looks like a young Tommy Chong, right? But
you know, yeah, he looks a lot younger when he's shaven. That you know, he shaved his beard. He grew that beard. I don't know why, but out of the blue, he grew that beard. And then when Heron won, it was like, hey, you're gonna shave that beard off when he wins, right? And sure enough, he wants to shave the beard. Then I think he won again. He shaved the stash. And the next time around was supposed to be his head. But Heron didn't win at Barber. You know, he had something wrong with his back or something like that. So he ended up getting second or third. And so we never got to see Will with no hair. He's going to be a mini-me.
And, you know, we could get Cam to make a deal with them.
What's that?
I don't know if we take that bet, though.
Who, Will?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, when you're Cameron, I think it's a little bit, the goal is a little higher. Maybe it's a championship and not so much wins, you know?
Right. Well, you know, Will's kind of also, all your guys are kind of intense. I mean, kind of have to be intense guys to be on that program, right? But
not intense personally, just serious about their work.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, every one of those guys is looking to win. You know, they don't, and they're not there for anything else but winning. Which is,
yeah, I mean, most of the guys have their own shops too, so they're pretty busy away from the racetrack. So Will's a flying guy, but he runs M-Works up in Northern California, and then you know you got Mike Canfield, who's got MC Technologies, same kind of deal.
Yeah.
And you have Glenn, which is DNA products, I think.
Yeah.
And he's in Michigan. So
Glenn comes out of Michigan?
What's that?
Glenn's from Michigan?
Glenn's from that northern peninsula, that, you know, almost Canada. I think they have no cases of COVID in his neighborhood because no one goes there.
Except him.
Him and the squirrels.
Yeah, so, you know, Will, my view is Will's sort of also the comic relief on the team. He just, that dude, he'll say something and you're just like, what the hell did you just say, man? And
yeah, he's a great punching bag, that's for sure.
Dude, he's awesome. And, you know, and then going back, and, you know, obviously Glenn, we just talked about him, but, you know, Glenn was super serious about lunch. Well,
you know, he's a crew chief on Jake's side, so he runs a clipboard well. He knows how to take notes, and he can definitely take your lunch order.
Yeah, he
doesn't mess up the lunch order.
For sure. Yeah, and then, you know, I mean, you had the data guys. I mean, you had Tom in there, you had Paul. Obviously,
well, Tom's not a data guy. Tom's, you know, he's a manager over at Yamaha, so he's kind of our liaison.
Oh, yeah. I just saw his head in a laptop in the truck all 2 days.
Well, Tom knows his way around a motorcycle. Don't be fooled by his title. You know, he knows the data, he knows the suspension, he knows the chassis geometry, he knows just about everything. I mean, he's been around for a long time with Yamaha. Yeah, I don't even know how long, but a long time.
I knew who Tom was prior to hanging out with you guys, but I didn't really get to know him much. I mean, I saw him at that first test that I was at Buttonwillow with you guys, and then, you know, this time I interacted with him quite a bit, and he's a character, man. Like, the dude he was kind of poking fun at me for my Laguna Seca bucket list t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, hey, you mean to tell me you haven't been to a swingers party?
Yeah, probably.
Is something like that. So he was fun. And he also, you know, he took it serious. He took the test serious. And, you know, whenever he went on lunch break, he went out on the scooter and was taking pictures corner by corner. And when he came in, you know, we had a chat about what he thought were safety concerns there. And I was like, wow, dude, you're coming to talk to me? Cool.
You know what I nicknamed Tom to him, actually, nobody else, but I call him, what's his name? Who was the guy on MASH that knew everything about everything? Was that Hawkeye?
Sure.
Oh, you're not a MASH guy. All right. Anyway, there's this guy that kind of knew.
I'm in my 40s, dude. Like,
what's that?
I'm in my 40s.
Yeah, whatever. It was a famous show, man.
I know, but yeah.
It wasn't Hawkeye. So anyway, I joked with him that he was that guy because he is like the Excel master. You know, if you want a list and you want organization, Tom's your guy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll make note of that. Building a spreadsheet.
He knows what's going on 99% of the time.
Nice. And then, you know, like I said, the other side of the trailer was like Paul. I think Paul's his name. And then obviously you really didn't leave the semi much. You were in there banging out stuff on the laptop or whatever, trying to make the bikes easier to ride. And then you had the gigantic German guy, Sven.
Yeah, Sven. Yeah, Sven lives up in the Seattle area. Sorry for him, but he lives in a nice neighborhood. He's actually a patent attorney, but an engineer by trade as well. So a lawyer and an engineer. And he helped us out with a MotoGP project. He helped us out with a couple of World Superbikes. I mean, 2 seasons of being a wild card in MotoGP. And he's been a friend of the shop forever, basically. I can't remember when. I think I might have sold him one of our Kawasaki Formula Extreme bikes back in 2005 or something. And so I met him then, and he's super switched on with the data. So he came in, kind of just give us a hand and look over some of the things we were doing and point out a few things. It's always nice to have another set of eyeballs on something, especially a brand new racetrack like that. Plus, he's only a couple hours away, so it's easy for him to kind of hook up with us.
Yeah. And he also had Epic bicycling t-shirts.
Yeah. he's in the
gorilla or the grizzly bear riding a bicycle and stuff. I'm just like, dude, you're 6'4" or whatever, and you're wearing this
probably
like
six,
tight.
about 6'6" because his head barely fit inside the trailer.
Oh well, yeah, okay, yeah. He was, and we kind of, he took it. He's very, I guess you could say he's very humble about the data stuff. You know, he seems really good at it, but he also is like, oh, this is just a hobby. Like,
yeah, no, him and I get along real well.
Yeah, he's.
You know, there's no pride getting in the way of anything. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And Paul's, I guess, data guy for Jake, or
yeah, he was Cameron's data guy last year, and I think the year before, and maybe even the year before. And then you know, when I became Jake's crew chief, we had to move Paul over to, well, not Jake's, but when I became Cameron's crew chief, then we had to move Paul over because I can do data and crew chiefing, and you know, those guys needed a data guy on that side because Vito from Morelli had taken a different job in Morelli, so we couldn't have him. So yeah, so Paul's Jake's guy. So you know, it's kind of musical chairs a bit.
He also was taking my bike off the stands for me and warmers and stuff.
Oh yeah, Paul's not shy to jump in and help out. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. Like a super nice guy. Like you got a whole dedicated crew of a bunch of dudes that just want to go win races, which is awesome. Like, it's what you need.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, Mike Canfield, he's a team player. You know, you tell him this is the way we're doing stuff. I mean, our bikes are different from what they were used to last year. So you tell him, okay, this is the way we're going to do stuff. He's like, cool, all right, you know, on with it. A lot of guys will you know, you come in and you blend with a team like that, which is what we did. I mean, half the team is Yamaha ex team members, I guess you can call it. And the other half was attack performance guys. And so we mashed those two together, and there's always going to be a little bit of, you know, hey, we did it this way, or hey, we did it that way. But no, the team's gelling really, really good. We had a really good test.
Oh, just a heads up, my guy Jimmy said to tell you that the know-it-all guy was Klinger.
Klinger?
Klinger.
No, Klinger. I think wasn't Klinger the transsexual guy?
I don't know, man.
They had a guy that would dress up in girl stuff because he was trying to get out of the army.
I don't remember any of the MASH characters.
Might have been Corporal Klinger. Yeah, it's probably right. I forget. I got so much other stuff in my head.
Or should I say, I'm taking Jimmy's word for it. I don't know.
Jimmy's probably right.
Dude, Jimmy is an encyclopedia of TV shit. So, yeah, I believe him. So. Okay, so looks like all the guys were going pretty good, and you know, it was amazing for me to get to see them on track, and you know, trying to stay out of the way, you know, with Cam and Jake, well, all of them really, because there was only 6 of us on track, you know, and even though Glenn kind of poked fun at me for having mirrors on my bike, they were kind of useful because I could see the boys coming, and I'd kind of kick a leg off and kind of stay where I was and kick a leg off, let them know which side to go on, pass me on, which is really cool. But I know, you know, Cam strafed me pretty good. It was like, whoa.
Yeah, I told Cam before we started the test, I said, hey, if you see that guy in your way, just come by him and just give him one of those. Like, get the hell out of the way.
No, you didn't do that. But
it
was pretty close, enough to where he thought about it and was like, hey, you know, and I'm like, no, dude, it was fine. It was totally clean.
Yeah, I heard he caught you backing into one of the corners.
Yeah, he did. I was pretty stoked to hear props from Cam. You know, he's like, hey man, I was getting on the track, and next thing I know, I see you backing it into the chicane. I was like, shit, is that Coiner? And I'm like, wow, dude, you saw that? So I don't know. That was kind of cool. It's like, you know, but yeah. So like the guys were going good, and you know, I watched Jake full sideways going into the chicane. I mean, he was in front of me, and I was looking at the side of his motorcycle going in there, and we talked about it later. And I was just like, dude, how the hell do you do that? And he's like, oh, I'm just getting in there, and you know, he just.
I was giving Lee a goodbye here.
Ah, nice.
Here's one of the crew guys now. Come here, Lee.
Oh, look.
Say hi to the audience. This is one of Cameron's guys right here.
Hey, I know that guy.
All right, we'll see you later.
See you guys.
Yeah, so just watching them, and I did catch a false neutral and kind of jammed up Bobby Fong a little bit in the chicane, and he whooshed past me and he was shaking his head, and in my head I was just like, oh man, I totally jacked that up. And later on, I guess he ended up breaking down or something. And
Oh, really?
yeah, Suzuki's,
Yeah.
So
pretty funny that he's shaking his head because you jacked him up.
Well, I love Bobby. I've known Bobby a long time. He's a good guy, but
yeah.
He's also, Josh Hayes was helping me, basically putting words in my ear every time I come off the track, and so I know he's working with Bobby. And so I told Jake afterwards, I was like, dude, tell Bobby it was a false neutral, my bad, dude. And later on, Josh, being the prankster, was like, oh yeah, Coiner was over there telling me that you ran him off track and this and that,
First time I ever heard of Bobby was at Road Atlanta, the next track we're going to go to, and he had fallen down and turn, I think it was 7 leading off on the back straightaway, and right in front of Rapp in the first opening lap. And of course, the Rapp had nowhere to go, and so he runs over Bobby's bike and goes straight, falls off, and the bike goes straight to the wall, bounces off the wall, comes around and tags Chaz Davies, who was next in the line, and knocks him down. So with one Bobby crash, it destroyed 2 of my motorcycles and broke one of my riders. That was the first time I met Bobby.
Well, not everybody meets people in ideal circumstances.
Yeah, I didn't run over there and punch him in the face or anything. I was just racing, but I was like, who's that guy, Bobby Fong? Who's that?
Yeah.
And then I got a chance to work with him later on, at Daytona and a couple of tests when he rode for some team that was one and done after Daytona. I can't remember what the name of the team was. They hired me to help them out with electronics, and they spent so much money at Daytona, they didn't have any more left after that one event. They were supposed to do a whole season.
Wow.
So the usual racing curse.
It's seeing Bobby getting going too. I mean, he was a 600 guy last year, and he comes out and he's kind of running up front now, right? So.
Well, I think that was good for him, honestly.
100%.
I think learning the 600s and then getting onto one of these modern bikes where there's quite a bit of power interrupt, teaches you how to ride like a 600 with a bike that's got power and how to tame it in the corners.
Yeah. Another thing is Tony. I mean, I saw Tony out there quite a bit. He would kind of come out and do a lap or two, and I'd see him the next lap, he'd come in and I would stay out there, so I was just out there. But watching Tony, he does what you see him on TV doing, it's so weird. A dude like that can go so fast, and you're just like, how does he do that? He turns in so early everywhere.
And he weighs nothing.
Well, yeah, he's
the guy weighs as much as one of my legs. It's like a motorcycle riding itself around.
So I see Tony quite a bit out here in California. Yeah. He comes out to Buttonwillow. He rides at my track days quite a bit. He coaches some guys and stuff, and he's always a good sport. So we were in that right-hander before Lombard Street, and he passed me on the outside and kind of looked over at me, and I knew exactly what he's looking for. So we both kind of did a wheelie side by side down that little straightaway. But when he landed, his bars were kind of turned. He had smoke coming off of it, and he nearly high sight.
Yeah, I remember Aaron Yates doing that after a race, I think it was, and he actually crashed one of the Yosh bikes. Dude, doing a wheelie.
Yeah, that would not have been a good time. That wouldn't have been good for the team or any of that, for what those guys are doing over there. But I mean, it looked like Tony got going pretty good.
Yeah, he was like, what was he, like 3 or 4 tenths back from Jake, and I mean, of course, Cameron was a second out from Jake, so yeah, he's like 1.3 or something from Cameron. But
yeah,
considering, I mean, how crappy his season has started, it was good to see him kind of back into it. I don't want to have a series. I mean, I want to win all of them, but I don't want to have a series where it's one guy checks out. You want to make it exciting, right?
Right. Well, I don't think your rider wants to do that. I think he wants to.
I know, but I'm thinking like a fan.
Yeah, and then, you know, the other pro guy that was on track with us was Sean Dillon Kelly on the 600.
Right.
And man, that kid's a maniac. I mean,
I don't know him that well.
Yeah, I mean, he just watching him, watching him learn the track super quick, and you know, he's making that 600 class exciting. You know, it looks like Richie Escalante is kind of dominating so far. So
yeah.
hopefully SDK finds something, you know. But man, the kid, and every time off the track, he's like smiling face, you know, wants to interact with the fans or whatever. So pretty stoked to see a guy like that.
Wasn't his dad the guy that chucked the water bottle at somebody or another?
Yeah, I mean, you know, racer dads do weird shit, you know.
Yeah, racer dads should stay home.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, being in this sport as long as I have, and you know, not nearly as long as you have, but you know, I'm 20 plus years. You know, I've dealt with a lot of racer dads and had to interact with a lot of them, and it's pretty crazy the stuff that you see, you know. And I know that Road Racing World had a whole series on that, so like multiple articles about, you know, racer dad stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I've ran some really horrible racer dads, because we've had some of the same. You know, Tony Myring's dad, I remember we talked about that a little bit in one of these things we did.
Yeah.
But yeah. Jake Gagne's dad's super cool. And you know, Josh Heron's dad was really cool when he was around.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely a mix where maybe when the guys get older and they're more successful, but man, some of the guys are coming up, you know, the dads think that their son deserves everything, and you know, the only reason why they're not winning is because you suck.
They don't have the magic part, right? They don't have
the magic. And then and, you know, then sometimes the son will take a few more years and he'll come around.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, Cameron and I actually talked about this at lunch on Tuesday last week. And you know, he actually remembers when his dad brought him out to our Button Willow track day back in the day when he had the little 125.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, his dad was, and still is, you know, his brothers come through the program too. And his brother's pretty fast too. He's just gigantical. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I don't know Cameron's brother. I his dad around, but I don't know him personally. You know, another parent was Speeds' mom. She was really cool to us too, but a lot of people had some horror stories about her. But I mean, we always got along great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of different, you know. I mean, everybody's different, right? But you know, some racer dads are definitely worse than others, you know. I mean, there's a couple of kids out right now that I see, and you know, you pull the dad aside and it's like, look, dude, like, don't talk to your kid like that at the races, like that. Don't do that. Don't, you know, unless you want to be on the sidelines forever, like you want to make the kid hate you.
Mm-hmm.
You see it, and it's like you want to give the dad's advice, but a lot of times the dads don't want to listen because they know better, or they think they do, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what's up, you guys? You got what's in store for next round? What do you got? What do you got up your sleeve? Magic bag of Richard Stanboli tricks.
You know, we got our new brakes, so now we have our new forks. And we'll see what we can do with them. You know, when we tested those brakes when we tested those forks with a different brake that actually, you know, worked together, Cameron liked it a little better. So I'm kind of waiting to see what happens at Atlanta. We mounted them all up on our bikes, and so we have some brand new stuff we're going to show up to Atlanta with, and see if we can go any faster.
Did you guys get? Did you guys ever get? I remember you telling me that you know, in one of our recent things that something about the rotors, like you had
braking had to make some new rotors for us that fit with the new World Superbike forks that we have. And so we got the forks, you know, we begged the guys in Olins to get them done in time, and we got them at Barber during the tests, and they showed up, but the rotors wouldn't fit because of some clearance issues. So braking had to go back and redesign the rotors, and they got us the rotors back, you know, the day after the test. And so we didn't get a chance to bed them in, but you know, they look good, they fit, we cycled suspension, no interference problems, so we're ready to rock and roll.
Nice. So basically Yamaha won too.
Well, I don't like to say anything like that. You know, you
That's-
never know what can happen.
That's the mission, right?
Don't count your chickens before they hatch, as they say. You know, just go out and do the best you can.
So you've got this round, and then you've got a couple of back-to-back rounds, right? You got to go to pit race the following weekend. How's that going to work?
We're just going to work in Atlanta for a day, you know, polish the bikes up. Hopefully that's all we're doing. And if we have to fix them, then we'll fix them and then put them in the truck and drive to Pittsburgh. You know, the boys will probably hop in their rentals and go have a little road trip.
So you're saying that in Road Atlanta, your plan is to stay Sunday night and then work on the bikes Monday and then go to pit?
Yep. And then Monday afternoon or evening, drive towards Pittsburgh and show up there, you know, Tuesday and hang out for a day, you know, at our favorite restaurant over there in, I can't remember the name of that little city we stay at, but, you know, and have a nice little relaxing night and start again on Wednesday.
So you know, it sounds like a pretty short timeline there between rounds, but, you know, do you think it's advantageous, or do you think it's kind of a little bit of a roadblock having 2 rounds back to back, or do you like it better? Or,
you know, it doesn't matter to us.
Oh, really?
You know, we plan ahead for it. If you did, I mean, the AMA used to do 3 in a row.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've had situations where it's 3 in a row, but it's really hard on guys that work full time, getting the time off work. Maybe they have to take vacation time or however, whatever the situation is. So, you know, the way the racing is now, there's a lot of part-time crew, and luckily for us, most of the crew, I would say all the crew, have their own business or they're partners in the business.
Right.
So they can take off time as necessary. But, you know, my concern is some of those other guys that have to, you know, the riders, of course, they're usually doing what they do. They just go from track to track, doesn't matter. But like I said, the crew, a lot of times they're you know, they're flying home on Sunday night and then doing a couple days of work and then flying back on Wednesday or whatever. And so I think it's pretty hard on them.
That's gotta be tough. I know at the test, one of the guys couldn't make it, right? Because he had to work. Fernando, yep.
Yeah, Fernando's a linchpin of the team.
And he couldn't make it.
Takes care of all those things that, you know, that might fall by the wayside if he wasn't there, you know. But
yeah.
We got it done.
Yeah, you guys did. You know, it amazes me how quick you guys are able to set up and tear down that giant semi and unload everything. I kind of gave a hand, you know, because I didn't have anything to do except drive back to the hotel that night. But
yeah, that wasn't by chance. You know, we ended up coming up with a task after MotoAmerica 1. You know, we're tearing down, and everyone was kind of staring at each other, because the team hadn't gelled and hadn't done a full awning race yet. We were at garages at Buttonwillow or something like that. So
right.
roll the bikes out and push them back in. But everyone was kind of staring at each other going, oh, what do you do? I don't know. What goes here and what goes there?
Yeah.
It wasn't even our semi, you know, it's Yamaha's semi. So came back to the shop and made a task list, handed it off to everyone. And, okay, you're in charge of this section. You're in charge of that section, you know. And it went together real smooth. And so I think that'll save us a lot of time and headache when we're tearing down.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's so weird. I literally, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you kind of jump out of the suit. I walked outside after getting out of my leathers, and half the floor was gone. I was like, what the hell? Yeah. So, I mean, in just a couple minutes, you guys had that thing broken down pretty good, and, you know, loading everything else is so fast.
Yeah, you put the little guys upstairs, you know, Lee and Will, they put the bikes away, and then the tall guys take down all the awning stuff, like Mike Canfield and Glenn Grenfell, and, you know, they pick up the floor. And so by the time the guys are done tying down the bikes upstairs, all the stuff downstairs is done.
Yeah.
You know, so boom, out of there.
You know, I looked up, my bike was already up top. I was like, oh man, you guys aren't messing around. So,
yeah, you went for your last session and you came back. We're like, come on, man, hurry up. Give me that motorcycle.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's impressive, you know. So after pit race, what, you guys got a couple weeks off, and then you're racing at the Ridge.
Yeah, after pit race, we'll we'll go back to the ridge, which will be fun. And we'll probably do a little engine development somewhere in there. So we'll see if we get a little more power because, you know, at some point we're going to go to Indy, and Indy has a pretty gigantic straightaway. So we'd like to have a little bit of speed. Even at Ridge, you know, the track is so short, but it has a decent straightaway. So leading up to that, and the turn, that chicane, which is going to be the new turn one. I don't know what they're going to call it yet. All the maps don't have the chicane in there. But that new chicane with turn one, I mean, that's going to be a great passing opportunity. So you got to be able to pull out a draft and pass somebody.
Right.
And so we'll work on a little bit of power between Pittsburgh and Ridge, just to see if we get a little bit more out of it. But that track is basically at sea level. I think it's like 300 feet or maybe less, maybe 280 feet. And so everything makes good power there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
a little higher up.
You know, coming out of the chicane, even the original turn one is still pretty quick. You know, you're still going at a pretty good clip going into that original turn one.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised the way they did the chicane. Normally they put it a little closer to turn one, but they put it a little close to start finish.
Yeah. Which
kind of messed with our electronics a little bit because we break the beam at start finish, and the way the electronics work, they use the brake as part of the way to flip the sector. You know, like they use the off throttle, on throttle braking type situation. And so it was actually flipping the sector before it got to start finish. So you had to do some creative stuff with the sectors to be able to make that work. I asked MotoAmerica to push start finish back because at least the finish line, I think they're going to put it in a different location, because you can see where if guys are running up into turn one and start finish right there, some guy's going to want to draft past somebody for the win, and they're not going to make that corner.
Right.
If they don't make that corner, they'll be disqualified. Because if you blow the chicane, the last lap doesn't count, right?
I would think not.
Normally that's the case. So you can see where some guys will lose just by, at least on the leader bikes. The 600, you might be able to pull it off, but the leader bikes were breaking like, I think, 35 to 50 meters before the start finish line. So that's going to be a little tricky.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I think we'll move it back.
You guys were kind of talking about where this race start's going to happen too. Like, is it going to start on the other side of the chicane, or is it going to start?
No, it'll start on this side of the chicane. Otherwise, we'll be walking a mile down there.
Right.
To set up. Hopefully they'll move the whole thing back. If they move it back like 200 meters, everything will be hunky dory, at least for me.
Okay.
Maybe the other guys don't care, but I care.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just, the track was fun. I mean, thank you for inviting me to that. I mean, what an experience for me, to go out.
You can put that on your shirt now. You have your
factory dude,
whatever threesome, Mile High Club, ride at Ridge with Yamaha factory team.
Factory dude for 2 days.
Yeah, factory dude for 2 days.
Even though I had to kind of sleep outside the tent, kind of thing. But
Oh yeah, you're definitely the stray dog that was kind of lashed to the fence post. That's what it looked like.
Thanks. Yeah, I was the rando alley dog that you're
like, where did I set my bike? Out there.
Yeah, it was an experience, man. I'll never forget that. I mean, learning a new track like that and being able to ride and just burn laps and figure out the place for myself. I mean, I felt like I got going pretty good. So I was like,
Yeah, it gives you kind of a perspective, because I'm so used to looking at these guys go around the racetrack, for such a long time, and you're not slow in your own realm, at Chuckwalla and Buttonwillow and places like that.
Yeah.
And those guys make you look like you're parked. That's how fast they are.
Made me feel like I was parked when they strafed past me. They carved me up pretty good, man.
So that's just how talented those guys are,
Yeah.
It's amazing to watch them ride.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, how quickly they pick the thing up, and were ripping really quickly. I mean, probably the second session, they were, second time out on the track, they had the place fairly dialed. And then, watching them progress, like you said, with Cameron, rounding off the corners instead of a V, he just kind of made a continuous arc.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how does somebody figure that out? I mean,
it's all the flow. It's all timing.
I ask you this all the time. How the hell does he do that? And your answer is always like, well, because he's Cameron. Like,
yeah. Well, you know, like I said, it's the flow, it's rhythm. Who knows what song's playing in his head?
Yeah, I'd like to figure out what song that is, because Jesus.
Oh, and the guy's name wasn't Klinger, it was Radar. I just thought
it's Radar. Oh, Jimmy, you're busted.
Klinger was the transvestite dude that was trying to get a Section 8 or whatever the hell they called it.
So you've been Googling this while we're talking?
Yeah. Google it just to make sure.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure it was Radar.
Wow. That's what. Okay, so you got the Ridge, and then you got to go back to the East Coast to Jersey.
Yeah, another good track for us.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, you know, JD gave Cameron a run for his money there last year. And so and then, you know, Josh won by, I don't know, half a lap the year before in the wet. So we have a good wet setup there. We have a good dry setup. I'd like to see what Cameron can do on that bike. You know?
Yeah.
And then I think Gagne was really fast there as well. So I think Jake really clicked at Ridge with some of the changes we made. So he might be giving Cameron a little bit of a run for his money. I mean, he's always kind of faster at the races than he is at the tests. You know, so I'd be curious to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the competition level. I mean, seems like that Ducati's starting to get pretty good too, a little bit. You know.
Yeah, no, Kyle's going good. I talked to his crew chief a little bit afterwards about the track. You know, and I mean, let's face it. You know, racing the way it is, we want them to grow, right? So we're not out there to have someone fail. I would like these teams to all be successful as long as we beat them.
You know, I mean, truthfully, I'd like to see they join the Superbike class. You know, with
that
PJ Jacobson.
Yeah, he should be in Superbike. I mean,
yeah, I'd like to see those guys join Superbike, and then also, you know what, the Altus dudes. You know, like they got Cam Peterson riding a super stock bike, and you know, he and PJ both are just smoking everybody. So.
Well, I mean, that's good. It'll raise the level of it'll raise the level of super stock, so that's not bad.
Yeah. All right, Richard. Well, you know what, man? I think we pretty much covered the Ridge and all that, and I think we're about an hour in. So
we didn't even talk about the weirdos in Seattle and all the boarded up businesses.
Well, I didn't really see any of that. You know,
some of the team guys were like, some team guys that landed at the airport, they were saying, "Hey, man, do you see all those boarded up businesses on the way down here?"
I didn't see any of that. Like, you know, William and I came from the airport together, and it was like, really, this is what people are all upset about? It doesn't look bad here. But then again, you know, perspective is a bitch, right?
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know.
You know, I mean, it's I didn't see any of that. The only thing weird I saw was when we were in the Irish pub and they had news of a police officer being murdered or something in a local town.
Yeah, things are kind of nutty right now. But,
yeah.
You know, I got my mask and we're gonna go racing.
Yep. Turn the news off. The only media I watch is the motorcycle racing media.
Ready to go racing. Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, dude. Go racing. Yeah.